All rise. Is that how we're starting the show? Oh, baby, Judgment Day. Aaron Judge and the rest of Major League Baseball. Free agency begins today. The offseason begins today as the GMs and all of baseball are in Las Vegas talking, and apparently Farhan was the talk of the town as the Giants have a bunch of cash to spend. Yeah, apparently he was the hit.
The talk of the town. I didn't hear this.
Talk of the town in Vegas.
Tell me what happened. I'm unaware of all of these things.
Oh, well, the Shea Kid wrote last night for the Chronicle down in the Vegas meetings, the GM meetings.
John Shea, the guy who was the star of the Willie Mays doc?
One of the stars. Many stars of that doc, but he was one of the stars. But basically, Farhan was talking it up, and a lot of people were sniffing around at Farhan saying, he looks like a guy who knows he has the Brinks truck. And it's an unlimited check. Oh, yeah.
Why are they setting me up for disappointment?
Oh, yeah. Well, you shouldn't be disappointed. I think, look, the Giants, the fact that they're in the mix of all these conversations about players, I think is a good thing.
Well,
I think it's a good thing for San Francisco.
But can you seal the deal?
Well, we'll see. And is it worth sealing the deal for Aaron Judge, a guy who hit 62 home runs last year, batted .311, drove in 131 RBI, 131 RBI for Aaron Judge, and carried the New York Yankees, carried them. So it's just kind of funny that we're here now when last year we were having a discussion like, man, well, Aaron Judge is free agent, right? Aaron Judge is a free agent after 2022. Felt like a pipe dream because we're in the midst of following the Giants win 107 games and going to play the Dodgers in the first round of the playoffs. But now we're here, and it could become a reality. I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't want to get anybody's hopes up, but the fact that the Giants are in on Aaron Judge makes me feel good. I'm not.
But our entire station is completely bought in on Aaron Judge going to the Giants. No, look at B. Why would he want to come here? I've been asking that question over and over and over again. And at some point, I'll make my pitch, and I'll tell you what it is. But I want to go back before the Giants. What happened with him and the Yankees? That's the question that I think we all need to figure out, because if he leaves the Yankees, to me, what happened in that relationship? Was it the disrespect on the front end of the contract? Was it them making him play it out? Pablo Sandoval had the same thing happen, and I think it's easy for a lot of people to, from the outside looking in, why would you leave a place that loves you? Mm-hmm. Well, because you feel disrespected by the front office, or you don't want to live in that state, or you don't want to play for that organization, or you can't stand somebody in that clubhouse. I don't have the answer to that, and I'm asking you, what do you think might have happened between him and the Yankees?
Without living in New York City, obviously we're in this bubble in the Bay Area, and I'm not going to pretend like I watched every single Yankee game or read every single Yankee report, but obviously he wanted the deal done before the season opener.
Yes.
The deal did not get done. All right, so then it's like, you know what? Now that the deal's not done, I'm going to use my leverage, and I'm going to shop. I want to be recruited. It's like college recruitment, right? High school player, 5-tool player. It's got all these colleges sending them letters. Bama, Ohio State, Nebraska. Well, Nebraska back in the 90s, not so much now, but USC. You got all these schools out there, and you like to be courted. People like to be courted. LeBron James, he talked about it. I love to be courted. When he signed up with the Miami Heat, he loved that. So Aaron Judge wants to be courted. Okay, let me see what's out there. I've been in this Yankee bubble. I know how tough it is to win here. If you strike out 4 times in a game, they're going to boo you no matter what your numbers look like. And that happened in the playoffs. So not having that dialogue, not looking like he was being loved by the fan base and Brian Cashman, maybe that took an effect, but he's a free agent. He's 31, and he's like, you know what? Maybe I want something different. I did whatever I could do for the New York Yankees to try to help them win the World Series. And I look around me. LeMahieu gets hurt, DJ LeMahieu. Giancarlo Stanton can't stay healthy. I'm looking around. Josh Donaldson's a clown. Garrett Cole's our ace who I can't count on for a big game. Let me go see what's out there. And so that's my guess on what happened with the New York Yankees. Is like, look, you didn't offer me the deal before the year. I had one of the greatest contract seasons of all time, and now I'm a free agent. I'm going to go shop, and you know what? I am a West Coast boy. It'd be nice to be closer to home, to my parents, to my siblings, to all my friends. So only Brian Cashman and Hal Steinbrenner can answer those questions. But, boy, the fact that Aaron Judge is at this point is an indictment on the New York Yankees.
Brian Cashman is an interesting character to me. He's been in the game and in the position for such a long time. And I have tremendous respect for his accomplishments. But boy, his arrogance, it's slightly off-putting at this point in his career. You ain't done jack. You spent $250 million a year, and you got nothing to show for it in the postseason. You blame this manager. You blame that manager. I don't know, man. I look at Brian Cashman, and I used to think he was and I do think this is earned, he was the top of GMs in any sport in terms of young talent coming through the pipelines, aggressive in free agent, aggressive in trades, knows how to build winning teams and just put stacked rosters together. But I also look at it, I'm like, dude, you've been in the job so long. Like, I don't know. I think he lacks the human touch. And clearly in this situation, and you saw it in the Jeter doc, clearly there's something about him when it comes to the scout, when it comes to the financial stuff, he misses the mark on the human element. And I do think that is a big part of why Aaron Judge is even testing free agency right now.
No doubt. I mean, Brian Cashman looks bad. He looked bad in the Jeter doc. And I want to give him credit because he's done a lot of great things for that fan base. But he's been there for a long, long, long time. And look, have they developed talent? No. You heard A-Rod say it when Jeter joined A-Rod and who was it? Michael K on the K-Rod. And he basically said, we had the baby bombers. They turned into baby bust. All right? They haven't been able to develop outside of Aaron Judge. Everybody's a free agent, right? Everybody's a free agent. Then you had the Chapman situation. And then you have the pressure of winning in New York. And right now, New York City, they are owned by the city of Houston. They can't beat the Astros. They have a tough time with the Tampa Bay Rays. When the Red Sox meet them in the playoffs, they're walking out of Yankee Stadium playing New York, New York on the boombox. So they've been owned. And it feels like this is it's just a critical point for the New York Yankees. Just looking at the AL East because Toronto's spending money.
Yes.
They have a slew of talent. The Baltimore Orioles, you can laugh all you want. They got prospects, and they brought them all up, and they were in the race last year. So they're making a comeback. The Yankees, if they lose Aaron Judge, they're never going to be irrelevant. But they may be cellar dwellers in the AL East for a long, long time because that division is stacked. And next thing you know, they're going to be cleaning out Aaron Boone. They're going to be cleaning out Brian Cashman. Yeah. And it's going to be a mess right now. So this is a monumental miss for the New York Yankees. And to boo Aaron Judge in the playoffs. Okay, you get in the playoffs. We also saw Barry Bonds struggle in the playoffs.
You really think the boo in the playoffs is something that's going to determine him?
No, because he had a quote last year in April. Look at all this stuff up. He had a quote last year in April where he basically said, look, I've been here since 2016. I know the boos are coming. This is what they do.
Okay.
I'm accustomed to it. So I don't think that's a big determination. I think it's the respect factor. And looking around at the roster, if he looks around at the New York Yankees.
That's the bigger thing.
And he looks around at that roster, and I'm like, damn, okay, LeMahieu can't stay healthy. Again, Stanton can't stay healthy, so where's my protection? I don't have anybody throw it to me. You bring in Joey Gallo, you flip him, he couldn't hit anything in the short porch of right field as a New York Yankee. And you look around that roster, from the middle relievers to the closers to the starting rotation, the roster's not all that stacked.
Well, the other thing I think that we underestimate in these situations, part of like the NBA, you have to know of free agency, everyone wants to get paid. That's number one, right? That's the first checkpoint. The other thing is, where do you want to live?
Right.
In the NBA, it's a winter sport, essentially, for the majority of the travel and everything like that.
Yep.
Some guys just don't want to live in cold places.
Nah.
Right? Now, David Sampson was talking about this, and they thought when they put a team in Florida, for example, so many guys would want to be in Miami. They would want to be in Florida via the free agency. Well, the problem is that the Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays don't spend in free agency, but very few times. Now, when they did, remember Jose Reyes went there, Burley went there. Guys were ready to go.
They've had shopping sprees in Florida, and they've gotten guys down there.
Exactly.
They just can't retain them.
Exactly. Well, or they sell them off, right, immediately. So I think that we look at baseball and we're like, oh, the Yankees. Some guys just don't want to live in New York. They don't want to live on the East Coast.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's the case right now.
Right.
I really don't know.
New York's a hell of a city.
Yeah, but B, it's not for everyone.
It's not
Randy
for everybody.
Johnson talked about it. He was from
Right.
Livermore, California.
Yeah, he's different.
He didn't want to live there.
He didn't want to live there. He's not a big city guy.
Exactly.
You know what
So
I'm saying?
everybody's a little different.
But
here.
Aaron Judge, I think Aaron Judge is a big city guy. I think he's
I don't know
embraced
what
that.
he is.
Like, I think the way he, you see him at games and you see him out there, he is box office. I think he can handle New York City.
If he came to the Bay Area, if he does want to come back home, okay, and he came to the Bay Area, he's sitting courtside at a Warrior game.
No doubt.
He's going to be in the box with 40 water at a Niner game.
No doubt.
I mean, he is going to be the toast of the town. He is the centerpiece. Like, the Yankees brand will always be bigger than the individual player. The Giants put the player over the brand,
Right.
it feels like. And they're such a great job. If you're Larry Bear, you know he's got the PowerPoint presentation on what he's going to do financially on and off the field for Aaron Judge.
Let me ask you this, though.
I don't know if that matters.
Let me ask you. I don't know if it matters, but what does this matter?
Huh.
I'm looking at the infield of the Giants.
Dude, please.
Does this matter? They got 15 guys right now, right, that you think are solidified. Joey Barter, catcher.
Okay.
Your infield is Wilmer Flores, Tyro Estrada, Brandon Crawford, J.D. Davis, and Tommy LaStella.
But if you're selling a guy on a 6-year deal, you're not talking about year one. You know what I mean? You're saying to him, here's the year 2 plan.
Okay.
Here's the year 3 plan.
Right, because
4, 5.
Because year one,
He's ugly.
you're going to have Yas.
Of course.
You're going to have also Slater. You may have Lamont Wade Jr. Then you do rotation. Alex Wood, Alex Cobb, Anthony DeSclafani.
I mean, you're skipping the best player on Logan Webb.
Yeah, so that's one player.
Yeah.
That's one player. I was going to get there, but I'm looking at all the other players. Camilo Duvall, okay, all right with that. One of the better closers in the NL. Got Brebria, Tyler Rogers, Harley Garcia. So, but to the Giants' point, they've only got about $82 million committed right now. And that's before all their arbitration and everything like that. So we'll see. You are selling them on year 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But for him, that's a big risk because
of course
the Giants haven't consistently been in the playoffs. He's consistently been in the playoffs. So why, if the Dodgers come knocking on the door with their PowerPoint and they're saying, look, we may lose Trey Turner, but we still got Mookie.
Well, of course.
And we still got a plethora of arms in the rotation.
The team I fear the most coming in, swooping in, is the Dodgers.
Yeah.
All right? There's no doubt about it. And also, I'm not sleeping on the Padres. Like, I think they're going to come in. When Manny Machado signed with the San Diego Padres, do you know who their next best player was?
Manny Machado, it was probably Eric Hosmer.
Exactly. He stinks. All right. And everyone knew that was an overpay. So you got to think big picture here. And you have to believe in the ownership group. And you have to believe in the people that are there. What I would say to them is, Aaron, look.
Is hope going to get it done?
What?
Is belief and hope going to get it done?
No. But what they would probably do is they probably have the entire organizational chart out in front of them. And they're like, look, Aaron, year 1, you might be only around X, Y, and Z players. Okay. But year 2, you got Luciano Matos coming through the system. We've got this third baseman that's skyrocketing through the system. We've got Farhan Zaidi. We've got a war chest of money. All right. You are piece 1, phase 1 of a 4, 5, 6 year thing. Like, this isn't about year 1. Like, I go back to a lot of these free agents. When Robinson Cano wanted to go to the Mariners, of course, money was part of it. But they were also trying to sell him on their 5-year plan. It didn't work, obviously. That's the low end. The positive end, and I would say that's one end of the spectrum. The other end of the spectrum is someone like Manny Machado who went to the San Diego Padres and they go, you're the first domino. Okay? And here are the other dominoes that are going to fall in place. Like, I look at that San Diego situation right now, and that's kind of a template for what the Giants are going to try to build. And you look at them. Think about year 1 for Machado. Everyone's like, why does he want to go there? Now, 3 years later, doesn't it feel like the place to play baseball?
It's been there. It's been like that, though, for 3 to 4 years. And they sold Machado because, he got a first look at it by playing with the L.A. Dodgers.
And he got $300 million.
But $300 million means
really
a lot.
Speaks, yes.
Yeah, but he was in L.A., got to see San Diego from afar, saying, maybe that's a place I could play. Maybe that's a place we could build. I see what they're doing. They're going to spend money. They're going to do things a little differently there. How much does Farhan and Kapler weigh into this? How much do they weigh into this? Kapler, is he a manager Judge will want to play for?
Well, that's a question that I keep thinking about. How many managers out there are like Kapler in the game And how many are like Bochy, right? Bochy is more of a good guy. He's going to be more,
I think players love playing for Bochy.
No question. But B, how many of those guys are still existing in baseball right now?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the problem with baseball. We've argued about that.
We agree.
So the manager here, like Aaron Boone, even though they run a lot of analytics there, he still goes by his gut at times. He's a fiery coach. He's a fiery coach who played the game, and not to mention that Kapler played the game, but it felt like they kicked it off. Like Boone and Judge was not a problem. Kapler at times last year, when you hear from the beat writers, when you hear from the fans, he rubbed a lot of people in that clubhouse the wrong way.
No doubt.
A lot of people. And at times we question whether he lost that clubhouse.
Fonte, if you were to ask me, okay, let's say Judge signs a 6-year deal. I'm just throwing out hypotheticals. Right. I don't know if Kapler's here a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. But it's about the long haul. It's not about, That's
a lot of unknowns, though. For a guy who's going to sign for $300 million and your legacy is on the line and you're going to an organization that's only been to the playoffs once in the last 6 years.
Back to Machado. Yeah, but they've got a 25-year track record. Like, you got to give the ownership group their benefit of the doubt. Look at the Padres. How many managers have they had over Manny Machado's couple of years there?
Now it seems like they got it right.
They solidified
even though Bob Melvin, what he did in the NLCS was a joke.
Well, I mean, neither here nor there, but you get my point.
You know, Spadoni. He mismanaged that one.
I also look at a situation like the Braves. Weird. I look at the Braves as like they're a model. I don't know if they're the template, but they're one of the models that's out there in baseball. And I look at what kind of jump-started all of them. Obviously, the slew of young players coming through. But they did have a solidified, quote-unquote, star in Freddie Freeman. He was the carryover from the prior generation. And he was the centerpiece that everything kind of flowed off of. Then he leaves in free agency, and they could still keep it going. But I don't think we could talk enough about the Braves and their ascension without the centerpiece at the beginning of the order and the three-hole for years and years and years, Freddie Freeman. He was the stalwart. I mean, he really was.
You put up a poll yesterday. This week in 2018, the Giants hired Farhan Zaidi. Are they a better franchise today than they were 4 years ago? There's 688 votes right now, and nearly 55% say no. 45% say yes. What do you think? Are they closer to a World Series than they were in 2018? Because I'll start this conversation by saying, no, they're not. No, they're not. And so I'm just trying to look at it both ways here. If I'm Aaron Judge, and I've been close, and he's on record saying, I want that World Series. I want that World Series. I want to play in big games. The Giants aren't closer to playing in big games than they were 4 years ago.
It's such a tough question. 2017... that year, they won like 65 games. Okay? 65 games. That's how bad they were. Buster Posey looked like he was at the end of his career. He had the hip surgery. They had zero efficient pitching. They were coming off of 2016. There was still this hope. Well, you should have won the series against the Cubs in 2016, and you could still get back there, and we could spend. I feel like they're more fiscally responsible now. I feel like the organization, in terms of like the farm, is actually in a better position than it was back then. I don't feel as good about the big league roster, but I think that there's so much that can change so quickly, even in one offseason. You get 2 or 3 guys here. That is such a great start for a foundation.
So the wish list I have here, in 888-957-9570.
I do think they're in a better spot.
They're in a better spot. They're in a better spot, but how far away? Feels like they're far, but who knows? Who knows? Because I got a wish list. You got some players out there. You got some players out there we can talk about on the other side here as it is Judgment Day. 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. What's your pitch to Aaron Judge? What are you selling him on? What are you selling him on? And what is it? What are you pitching for the Giants? Like, is it just Aaron Judge? Is it Aaron Judge and Trey Turner? Is it Aaron Judge and Bassett? Is it Aaron Judge and Jacob deGrom? What are you selling? How are you going to pitch to Aaron Judge to come to San Francisco?
You think there's anybody out there who doesn't want Aaron Judge?
I'd be intrigued with that. I don't know. There's a couple. I've had a couple buddies tell me it would be the wrong move.
Well, because when Bryce Harper was coming, one guy's not going to change everything. And then you kind of see what the Phillies did in free agency, centered around Bryce Harper. And you kind of see what San Diego's become. And it started, and it was centered around Manny Machado. And I'm just curious how many people are out there saying, I don't want to spend $500 million on one guy.
I bet you there's people who would rather have Trey Turner. I bet you there's people who'd rather have Jose Abreu and Jacob deGrom.
I mean, we got to start somewhere. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Like, you need to start somewhere.
All right, 888-957-9570.
This is great. I'm ready.
We also have some great Steve Kerr sound yesterday because I've got some thoughts on some trade rumors. I have some thoughts on Klay Thompson, and I want to throw something at you about Klay Thompson, so we'll do that as well. It is Judgment Day. We got Renell Brooks Moon coming on the show. She's going to join us at 8 o'clock. Pilo's going to make his pitch at 8:30. We got a lot of things going on here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game.